Welcome to Think Big with Dan and Qasim. Join hosts Dan Melnick and Qasim Masood as they explore big ideas, limitless possibilities, and engage with visionaries, entrepreneurs, and thought leaders who dare to dream big, get inspired, motivated, and find practical tips for personal growth. Think big, dream bigger, and ignite your potential.
Welcome to the Think Big with Dan and Qasim. Today, our guest is Keith. Keith, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great.
Awesome. So, would you let us know where you live and what you do?
I live in near Chicago in Wheaton, Illinois, and our company's based in Glen Ellen, so another suburbs. And I'm the CEO and founder at SuperBetter. SuperBetter is a tool for educators and others to empower resilience and mental health and skills for success.
Awesome. So, would you please let us know a little bit more about your responsibilities? As you said, you are a CTO as well, so I believe you must be taking care of the technology. But I would like to know what are your main responsibilities in the company?
Yeah, so I'm the CEO, and I'm the we're an unusual company that we have a lot of progress, but we're also very bootstrapped and a very small team. So my responsibilities are everything as many founders can probably appreciate. And so whether it's interacting with customers, sales, marketing, finances, technology, right? So I've learned to become a generalist, and I'm really good at a few things. I'm good enough at a lot of things, and that allows us to move the business forward right now.
Awesome, that's great. Yeah, so whenever you are a founder, you have to wear a lot of hats indeed. So, what do you think? What is the best time to start delegating your responsibilities? Because I can say, like in 2016, when I started my business, I was wearing a lot of hats at that time. So, and I was thinking maybe there will be no end to this. I will have to take care of all these responsibilities, and I'm not sure if I will be able to delegate it at some point. But yeah, certainly after some time, I started delegating the responsibilities. But in your viewpoint, what is the best time to start delegating your responsibilities?
It's a thoughtful question for founders. And I'm not sure who said this, but somebody who is a very famous entrepreneur, shared this, and I heard it, and that is, whenever you have a choice between money and time, always go for saving yourself time, because in the big picture, maybe not today, but in the big picture, you can always find more money than you can time, because time as an individual is fixed. And so the timing of when to start delegating, I think it's as soon as you can. And as a founder, it's a struggle, because often there aren't, I don't have a large team to delegate to. And so what can I delegate to who, that's smart and efficient and allows me to do more, is always a thoughtful approach. Now, when we're past bootstrapping and are, in a different set, we have a larger team, then it becomes a much more natural just, process of delegating and assigning responsibilities and having the team, shine and bring to life their greatest expertise, and in order to move the business forward.
Awesome. That's a great saying. I believe that's a beautiful saying, in fact. Okay, so entrepreneurs face a lot of challenges, and I'm sure you must have faced a lot of challenges till now. So, can you share one challenge that you faced and you were able to cope up?
So a challenge that faced. So we this was a couple of years ago. We had a self-help product on the market. We were making it available for free. Kind of learning a lot, right? It was all about. I have an innovation background, so I love learning and collecting data and insights in that, and so that product served its role. As we came out of the pandemic, we saw the real need for mental health and resilience building solutions for schools. And it paid out that the percent of students across student populations And it's not just a US problem, but around the world. I mean, it's 20, 30, 40, sometimes 50% of students are struggling with some type of anxiety, depression, right? So it's a population-wide, problem. And we saw that, and we saw how our tool, our platform, could be used proactively in classrooms as a population, for student populations, as opposed to most mental health related solutions that go through the student services, healthcare, the school counselor, the social workers, right? Those are really important roles, but nobody's over here providing a solution for the classroom. And for schools and universities, the biggest pain point is in the classroom, because when mental health is lower, academics go down, absenteeism goes down, retention, graduation rates all go down. So the business pain point is happening in the academic world, but the solutions are in a different area, and they're kind of too late. They're in terms of being proactive, right? They're more treatment focused. So we saw a real opportunity to, because of the research and the way that our intervention works, we call it the SuperBetter mindset, it was to build a product for classrooms. It was a bootstrap company. I had no money to build that product. And so what we ended up doing is we partnered with a large healthcare system, and we partnered with them when we collaborated. And we entered a pitch competition, and a lot of pitch competitions, are no money or very little money. This was a real one that had like significant, money. So we ended up, winning the pitch or being one of the finalists. And so they selected 5, and so the payout was, a 6-figure payout. But we were able to use that to build the product, right, to solve the problem of no resources to create a classroom product, as well as to do the other things that around creating a pilot and those kinds of things for the pitch competition program as well. But that was one we looked creatively for. How do we find this for our healthcare partner? They love the innovation of it and the bright shiny object. And while they're a healthcare provider and not a school, they had a strong emphasis on community-based innovation, and how do we improve the lives of the community and the markets that they serve as well.
Awesome, awesome. So, in terms of understanding more, who are your ideal clients? Who are your ideal customers, in fact?
Yeah, so our core focus right now is on the university market. And so we are a solution in the university market for student success. And again, I alluded a minute ago to poor student mental health across student populations is a hindrance. So part of our story is we're proactively building skills and creating a framework that reduces anxiety and depression. SuperBetter is backed by 5 published randomized controlled and clinical trials that show that when you use the SuperBetter mindset, that anxiety and depression is significantly reduced. Our latest research study came out of Harvard. There's a randomized controlled trial. Harvard and some other institutions looked at college students. They had anxiety and depression. They used SuperBetter for 10 weeks, and then they measured long-term outcomes at 3 months and 6 months. And there was at 6 months, there was a 42% remission rate, which means 42% of those students that started the program with anxiety and depression no longer had it. In the world of therapy and mental health, that's a really significant outcome, especially for a SaaS digital kind of a tool. So we can come into a student success course, a first-year experience course, any course that is building students' success and kind of reaches broad populations. We can be an overlay. So the instructors can add this to what they're already doing. If there's already a student success course or a first-year experience course, this is a way to bring those skills and reinforcements to life. It's taught as a curriculum, as well as this classroom product that I mentioned that we built as a web-based dashboard that allows the instructor to add their students as players, form squads, and then host challenges for the squads. The players or the students then complete the activities for those challenges on their app. And so they can do it during class time. They can also do it outside of class time, depending on what works for the instructor. So we're finding that we have a very unique solution in mental health. Universities, the 2 biggest pain points right now for universities that we hear when we're out there talking to folks are the declining enrollment and kind of the pending enrollment cliff, right? We can't help a lot with that because those are demographics and other kind of cultural shifts. So they're going to, there's a lot of competition now for how do we get students from a smaller pool. out there. But what we can help a lot with is on the the second big problem, which is mental health and its negative impacts on the business model of student success, student retention, graduation rates, all of those kinds of things. And so we offer a unique solution that, again, it gives them more control on the academic provost side of the business to create innovation and bring a tool proactively to their students, as opposed to waiting until the students are in crisis and then sending them to the students' health services and the mental health counseling department. Those things are, as I said earlier, critically important, but we also need to go upstream to proactively build skills and resources to reduce the prevalence of anxiety and depression.
Makes sense. Completely makes sense. So, don't you think when your clientele is a student community, so I'm not sure if they must be that much paying or not, because this will have a direct impact on your revenue. So, how you manage this thing?
So we're a B2B business. So it's the university is paying, and then the students the students just participate it because it's part of their class, and so they participate within that way.
Yeah, completely makes sense. Completely makes sense. So in this case, I think there should be some educational campaigns or maybe awareness campaigns, because sometimes students are under some pressure or under some stress, but even they do not realize it. So how you are managing like this awareness part, if someone comes to you, or if even someone is not coming to you, they do have the problem, so how do you will let them know, okay, you have this problem and this is fixable, we can fix it.
So with our business model of marketing and selling to higher ed institutions, the way we're reaching the students is through the instructors and through the classroom, and so they're learning. So if we're added to a first year experience course, or often universities have required courses for their first year students, and so if they've added SuperBetter into their course, they're learning about the SuperBetter framework, right, in class. They're talking about with SuperBetter. SuperBetter is kind of like playing life like a game. There's 7 rules. It's underneath each of the rules are techniques from cognitive behavioral therapy, positive psychology, and health behavior change. But you're going for epic wins. You're battling bad guys that get in the way of your progress. You're activating power ups, right? So it's a gameful structure. So they're learning kind of how that all works and the kind of the science of how it works, which creates that awareness. But they're also applying, as they're learning it, they're also applying it into their life to achieve epic wins. A lot of in those courses, a lot of the epic wins are about skills for success that that are going to have near-term impact as well as long-term impact across their academic career. And once they're built, those skills for success will also be helpful for them in their career settings as well.
All right, so how did you decided the technology tech stack, you can say, where like you decided, okay, so it should be a website, or there should be a mobile application as well, or there should be a portal, whatever there should be. So how you came up with this idea?
So we start kind of a process, and it's really interesting, right? Because we started as a self-help app on the App Store. The reality of all self-help apps in this well-being space and mental health space, whether it's SuperBetter, Calm, Headspace, retention is really, really low. And your earlier question on how do you educate? Well, it's very, very hard to capture an ROI, of long-term value compared to cost of customer acquisition in the consumer market, especially if you're going for mainstream broad. We want to be for everyone in the younger generations, right? And so even the ones that have kind of figured out an ROI model, they're mostly, they're getting a lot of their revenue from older and more affluent folks there as well. And our heart is, let's solve problems for everybody and not as well. So but we had this self-help app. It wasn't designed to really monetize, and the direct to consumer wasn't really where we wanted to be, and it wasn't designed well as a tool for classrooms, right? So a lot of instructors, teachers, they would learn about SuperBetter. We have a New York Times best-selling book that talks about the method and how it works. They would read and say, "This is amazing," but how's a self-help app going to help me in my classroom? And it's like, and so on their own, many educators are very creative, and if they have time, they can read a book and figure it out on their own, and a lot did. We also have a TED Talk from Jane McGonigal. It's called The Game That Gives You 10 Extra Years of Life, but it's her story that led to the invention of the SuperBetter framework. And 9 million people have seen it. So a lot of instructors and educators see that, or they show that to their students. To demonstrate the benefits of games or the psychology or different lessons that they might want to take from that. So we knew there was a place for our SuperBetter and our mindset intervention in the classroom. We just had to figure out how to get it there. And so we started with tech. And we knew the app interface. It was kind of where we started from. So we have we redesigned the app interface. We added a web-based portal where the instructor can add their students and host the challenges. And as we went along all those processes, lots of research, lots of input from educators and students and others, right? So very much market informed. Talking to lots and lots of customers about not only what the tech stack is, but what the features are, right? So one of the things we learned was if we're going to sell to schools, we cannot have a place where students can talk to each other in the app. Students would love it, but it creates such a risk profile for schools that they're not going to buy it. And it also, because of security, privacy, what happens if, worst case scenario, a student, bullies someone else or mentions suicide or other kinds of, things, what's the risk to the school and the institution? But also if you're providing that kind of communication, there's an expectation it's going to be monitored. So this simple, easy overlay turnkey tool all of a sudden becomes an administrative burden for the instructor because now they have to monitor and something completely different, right? So features like that, so we designed a way to have ally check-ins prompted in the app, but they actually happen outside the app in a really clever way as well. What we learned was also, we kind of, because we started with tech, where this is the tech solution, but as we rolled out and we've been doing a lot of work with Indiana University. They're a great customer, a great partner, and we've been learning more and more. And what really dawned on us was, in reality, we don't need any tech. We can teach our mindset intervention as a curriculum. We can teach it as an online course. I just came from a corporate event, a global conference for a large company where I taught it in workshops and 90-minute workshops for hundreds and hundreds of employees, right? So there's lots of ways to teach and create value. So we've added those components as well. So now we kind of think about the SuperBetter program not as just an app or just an app and a tech-enabled instructor version, but it's a whole program, and then it's what can we do with that whole program around curriculums plus tech in different ways. Obviously, in some settings, tech is absolutely the way to go. In other settings, tech may play a very minor role, right? And so, but we can use that as a total program for our customers and be much more flexible and versatile, so they can add SuperBetter and our mindset intervention into different kinds of either courses or one-on-one coaching sessions or student orientation programs. Or there's been a whole host of ways that because of this kind of modular approach of it's not one thing, it's all scalable. So it's not like we're slowing down our efficiency by doing all of these, but we can use the different tools to meet the needs in different ways in a more programmatic kind of a way.
That's a value addition for sure. Awesome. So, Keith, at the end, what would be your biggest piece of advice to our audience who are business owners or the entrepreneurs?
Yeah, so the biggest advice is really start with the customer and the customer needs. There's a lot of, we all have, we have ideas that are based on experience, and sometimes they're customer experiences as well. And and often they're good directions. Sometimes they're not good directions. But the more and more that the ideas get vetted in customer discussions, but I find even in marketing experimentation is just huge. And so we've put a huge focus on in-market experimentation, right? So we talked to universities and leaders and instructors, right, about needs for student success. But when we really learned was when we actually put the product into the solution into classrooms, right? And then we put it into session, the SuperBetter framework into sessions where coaches are using it or mentors are using it in a one-on-one setting, and then we put it into a workshop for corporate events. And so with each one of those, we're learning. And in that case, we've been around for SuperBetter, so it's 70 or 80% there. But gosh, that extra 10 or 20 or 30% we're learning is just it's gold. And then we can kind of think about how to evolve in a way that just really maximizes the value as well. And of course, in the selling process, it's one thing to say I talked to a professor at Indiana University. It's another one to say Indiana University is a major partner, and look at the three things we've done already, and this is what we're doing new in the fall. It just changes the course of the confidence that they have that this isn't just an entrepreneur with a dream, but this is an innovation that's being vetted and tested and validated in the real world with real institutions.
Awesome. That's great. So, Keith, it was really nice talking to you, and thank you for joining us today. But before we hop off, can you please let our viewers know how they can reach you if someone wants to?
Yeah, for sure. Connect with me on LinkedIn. Send me a little note that says how you found me. But let's connect on LinkedIn. If there's an interest in reaching out and having a conversation, you can email me. My email address is Keith, Keith at superbetter.com. SuperBetter.com.
Awesome. Thank you, Keith, and best of luck for the Super Better.
Very good. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you. Likewise. Bye bye.